This is music, and this is another kind of what's spinning sort of video. Welcome to another video in which I just share with you some of the things I've listened to. And the idea is not to document everything I listen to. It's to pick out some of the things I've listened to and recommend them, maybe, inspire you guys to, exploring some new music, maybe rediscovering some old music. And seeing that this is the third video of this kind I've made, I guess I can turn it into a series. So I'm gonna call it the Pukebox series, a pun on jukebox. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in the sort of more dirty death metal world, there are lots of bands that are called something with vomit, like witch vomit and vomit this and vomit that. So it's a pun on that tendency in the world of death metal, and then jukebox. So it doesn't mean that the music is something that'll make you puke. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Anyways, let's get to it. So I've listened to a bunch of CDs, a bunch of vinyls. I'm going to show you some CDs and some vinyls. First of all, seeing that I'm working on a series of videos on Bandmate, I've listened to a lot of Bandmate, both these CDs and the digital ones I have, and I will recommend Bandmate to anyone at any point in time, any day, if you like melodic modern hard rock. So that's that. Anyways, let's get to some of the other stuff I've listened to, because I did have some time to listen to some other things, and the ones I'm gonna recommend are this one here, Arachnes, Parallel Worlds. This is power metal with symphonic leanings and slightly progressive leanings as well. And what I like about this is it is your European power metal with all the double bass drums and larger than life sing-along Schlager kind of approach, which is a bit cheesy, and there is some cheese on this album, so it will appeal, I think, a lot to fans of European power metal. But what I like about this album is that there is, I think, a healthy dose of just traditional heavy metal riffage as well. And I kind of prefer those songs on this album that have the traditional heavy metal riffage going on. But I decided to include it as something I recommend because I think it will appeal to a lot of just fans of power metal in general. It is a bit darker than your stereotypical Euro power metal as well, maybe because of the traditional metal influences. But it has cheese on it, just so you know. Up next, Artillery Terror Squad, traditional thrash metal, really fast and aggressive thrash metal with awesome, just sick vocals from Flemming Rønsdorf. The production might be a bit of an issue. It has this typical 80s production with lots of reverb, which means that the really powerful and punchy riffs lose a bit of that power. But if you like that old school 80s production, then you will love that as well. The music on this album is great throughout, so any fan of thrash metal should check this out. Up next, At War, Ordered to Kill, and At War, Retaliatory Strike. Now, these are two thrash metal albums by the band At War. On this album, we're dealing with a lot of Motorhead and Venom worship, I would say. They have this kind of like approach where they pick some riffs and then they repeat those riffs quite a bit, right? So that might not be for everyone. on Retaliatory Strike, their music is a bit more varied. There's a bit more variation, some more riffs going on, not as much Venom and Motorhead worship. So the themes are war and warfare, and I would say that there are some lyrical elements on, especially on this one, that some people will find, understandably enough actually, will find offensive. Just so you know. The vocals, the lyrics kind of range from being kind of silly to being downright distasteful. So, and there's some elements on here that some people will consider problematic. Just be warned. But I mean, it's for the shock value. I think that's the main reason why they include these things, and maybe to pad out the playing length a bit. Not that much on this one, but you know, if you like your thrash metal, if you like your more dirty, almost like dirty, speedy thrash metal, and if you don't have a problem with some potentially offensive issues, you know, why not check out these two rather obscure releases of thrash metal. Something completely different, Hysteria by Def Leppard. Very melodic hard rock. I would even say kind of like maybe pop rock, right? Very 80s. Although this does have a bit of a futuristic sound for an 80s album because of the use of an electronic drum kit, because the drummer lost an arm in a traffic accident, so they set up an electronic drum kit for him so he could keep playing, which is pretty cool. Lots of great sort of melodic hard rock songs on here. Great songwriting as well. I love the cover artwork too. It's also kind of like a bit futuristic. I will say that it's an album that sort of towards the end, I kind of tend to lose. You know, it loses my attention, right? If you know what I mean. But you know, each and every song on it is very good, very enjoyable. There are some. Love Bites is a bit of a cheesy ballad, and the lyrics are kind of dumb, but nothing wrong with the music. So if you like hard rock and you've never heard this one before, maybe if you're a younger person or something, just go back and check it out. There's some really good stuff on it. It's a legendary album, and in my opinion, it's the last great album by Def Leppard, in my opinion. This one made an appearance in a recent video of mine, Narcotic Greed, Japanese melodic thrash metal. Just great stuff. If you like your melodic thrash metal, check this one out. Up next, some more melodic stuff, but more melodic hard rock. Axia. I think that's how it's pronounced. I think it's a Swedish hard rock band. What's cool about this one is that, as you can see, there's like a bunch of bonus tracks on here, right? And that's an entire EP. So this one is a twofer. You have the Axia album, and then you have the EP. Its name or title escapes me, but it'll appear in text right now, probably. Melodic hard rock. There's some pretty bad ballads on it, but the melodic hard rock parts, pretty good. So very enjoyable. The bonus tracks are more hard-hitting, actually. I actually enjoy them even more. They have more of a, almost like new wave of British heavy metal vibe going on. But very enjoyable, just melodic hard rock album from the 80s. I also gave this one a, I don't know if it qualifies as a spin. I listened to it in you know, chunks. Second Stage Turbine Blade by Coheed and Cambria. Coheed and Cambria are known as a kind of progressive band, but their first releases were more like emo rock, like, you know, early 2000s American teenage rock, you know what I mean? Very melodic, some good melodic melodies, but it's an album, it's to me maybe their least interesting album, but still good. I gravitate more towards the more progressive stuff they do later on. But there's some good vocal melodies on. You have to get used to the vocals. I think they are a bit of an acquired taste. what I like about this is that, okay, so it has a lot of emo rock influence. It has a lot of pop punk influence as well. But rather than just, going for 4 chords and just strumming along, which a lot of pop punk bands do, their approach is a bit more riff based, which I kind of like. I think it's a bit of a shame that the guitar is a bit low in the mix, to be honest. But if you're interested and want to check out some maybe more alternative emo rock, maybe check this one out. But I would recommend seeking out some of their subsequent releases. One thing that's pretty cool about this band is that they're kind of like an entire concept band. All the songs on all their albums take place in the same kind of a fictional universe. They also have some comic books and stuff, with stories that take place in that universe. So, it's an enjoyable listen. To me, I have to listen to it in chunks, though. And then I just picked this one up, or it arrived a couple of days ago. Sin Isomer, I think is her name. Japanese metal vocalist. It's called Burst into Isomer, which you can, interpret that title in some unintended ways, I think. It has 7 songs on it. I picked this up in JPU Records. They sort of brand it as an album. Other places it's classified as an EP, so I don't know. This is like Arachnus. This is power metal, and it has some inspiration from European power metal, but it also has inspiration from US power metal. So there's hardly any cheese on this. This is actually very good, and she's a great vocalist. She can really hit some high notes, especially in Quiet Sky. She hits some, they sound almost like they used effects, but I actually don't think so. I think it's just her voice, to be honest. Some really good stuff. My favorite tracks are Quiet Sky, The Last Spell, Future King, and Bang Your Head. They have some, the double bass drumming and all that stuff that we know from European power metal, but there's the happy, slappy stuff is kind of like not present. You do have the larger than life choruses. I don't mind that. I love them, just singing along to them. So this was a very, very nice surprise to me. This will make an appearance in some more videos. It'll make an appearance in an update video in which I say, I'm looking forward to listening to this. I don't know what it is. Now I know what it is. So it's great power metal. If you like power metal, and if you like female fronted metal, certainly try to check this one out. It's good stuff, I think. I was very positively surprised by it. Okay, then some vinyls. I finally got around to listening to this one. I've had it for a while. ADX maybe. Execution. It's a French traditional heavy metal band, and this is really, really good stuff. There is a slight kind of 80s speed metal element to it, not much. A lot of, basically they sound like a new wave of British heavy metal band with, a French guy singing. And there's a lot of early Iron Maiden. I don't know if it's like influence from early Iron Maiden or if just, the scene at the time, but it's really good. It comes with 2 vinyls, the core album, and then some bonus tracks. I haven't heard the bonus tracks yet, but the core album is really great. If you like 80s metal, if you like new wave of British heavy metal, if you like new wave of traditional heavy metal, because that's based on stuff like this, so I would certainly recommend this. The vocals are very French, right? That's the French style of singing, which makes sense because they sing in French and they're French. So what do you want? You know what I mean? And it's interesting. I enjoy listening to metal music that draws on sort of the language and on the sort of maybe some types of cultural expression from the background culture of the band, and you get that here with the singing. Good stuff. I cannot recommend this enough. The next one is Violent Playground, Thrash and Blues. This one gets a lot of flack. Most people trash it and dunk on it, but it's actually not that bad. It's thrash metal with some crossover tendencies, and then what they do is they inject some blues rock parts every now and then, and it's kind of fun, and some boogie rock parts as well. The title track is Thrash and Blues. There's also a song called I Hate My Boss Blues, then Poverty Sucks, Dr. Feel Fine. So, you know, a bit of humor there. Let's just see some more song titles. Lame from the Neck Up. 21st Century Bluesmen. Anvil Head. Right? So, I mean, obviously they're going for sort of humor, but it's actually pretty good. I enjoy listening to it. And the blues parts and the metal parts, they work very well together. And another thing is that this is, I don't know if you can see it down here. It says copyright 88 E. Repka. This is actually an Ed Repka cover. Very unusual, but kind of fun. So yeah, I mean, if you find a copy of this reasonably priced, I don't see why you shouldn't pick it up, especially if you're a thrash metal fan. Same thing with this one. Now, this one normally comes with a gimmick kind of cover, so the inner sleeve has like pictures of the band members and then some known criminals. This version here came without, I bought it secondhand, it came without that inner sleeve, but I have actually picked up a version that has the inner sleeve as well, so that's very cool. Zoetrope, A Life of Crime, thrash metal with some speed and traditional metal elements, and it's very good. I really enjoy listening to this, which means I'm extra happy to have, it'll make an appearance in an update video at some point, to have a version with sort of the gimmicky inner sleeve. Just enjoyable thrash metal, and actually, I mean, it looks like it, you might think, oh, it's kind of like fun, sloppy crossover stuff. It's actually pretty tight. Very good stuff. I would recommend it if you like thrash metal. Speaking of stuff that's kind of sloppy, Virus, Pray for War. Now, when I say sloppy, I mean it has a sort of like a British 80s crust punk do-it-yourself approach, right? So the production is kind of rough. The performance has like a lot of spirit, lots of energy, but the drummer seems a bit, sometimes a bit challenged by the high breakneck speed they go with. But it's a very charming listen and great artwork. And actually, you know, if you're a bit of a crust and hardcore punk fan, which I am, this is something you're going to enjoy. I really like it. I like the sort of rough. It's a bit rough around the edges. I like that. It adds a lot of charm, a lot of authenticity. They play really fast. Some of the songs are all-out thrashers. Some of the songs are more like dark crust punky, and it just works very well together. Virus, Pray for War. If you like your crust punk, if you like your dirty crossover thrash metal, maybe even, I don't know, if you like kind of like lo-fi, kind of like black metal, although there's no black metal here, maybe you'll appreciate the production too. I really like this album. It's great stuff. This is an OG. I think there's a reissue out, and if you find that and this sounds intriguing and is reasonably priced, I think you should pick it up. And then just to finish off on a softer note, Vixen, Rev It Up. Great, just melodic hard rock with some heavy metal elements, with some AOR elements, with some pop elements. There's some ballads that I, you know, normally I just don't pay attention to them when I listen to them. But, you know, some good riffage, some good drumming by Roxy Petrucci, who is also known for being part of the infamous Madame X band, which is kind of fun, 80s metal. This is a bit more serious. This is actually really good stuff. Just nice, feel-good hard rock. I've listened a lot to nice, feel-good 80s hard rock over the last year or two. And, you know, of course it has a bit to do with the state of the world because of one of these things here, right? So I just feel like I need happy, feel-good music. I think that's also why I listen a lot to Bandmate because they have a happy, feel good, uplifting spirit as well. So that was just some of the stuff I listened to. I can vouch for all of it, but I have, there's some caveats and some disclaimers in some places, but I think there should be something here for a lot of people to maybe seek out and listen to. Thanks for watching.